Welcome to Mojo Travels, and today we're counting down our picks for the dark tourist attractions you should never visit.
Are you a fan of our videos? Be sure to subscribe to Mojo Travels and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.
For this list, we're looking at destinations that sound interesting on paper, especially if you've been swept up in the dark tourism craze. However, they're really not worth the time, money, or, in some cases, potential risk involved. Alcatraz Island, San Francisco Bay. Considering the incarceration remains one of America's most prominent problems, the idea of turning Alcatraz into a tourist attraction is in bad taste. Serving as a federal prison from 1934 to 1963, Alcatraz housed a number of infamous criminals, including Al Capone. The Alcatraz tourism experience is like when Geraldo opened Capone's vault though. A lot of build-up with nothing especially satisfying inside. Alcatraz was also the site of a protest occupation from late 1969 to mid-1971. Hey, it's important to remember the events of the past, but it has to be for changing society for the better, not just cheap entertainment. We understand preserving Alcatraz for historical purposes, but it certainly wasn't made for Instagram. Hashima Island, Japan. Hashima Island, aka Battleship Island, is known for many things. From the 30s to the end of World War II, it served as a forced labour camp. By the 60s and 70s, coal mines weren't the necessity that they once were. The island's mines and buildings were therefore abandoned, although the Hashima has since seen a rise in popularity due in part to its depiction in Skyfall. Tourists may be disappointed to learn that these scenes weren't shot on location and only exterior shots of the island made it into the film. If you're still interested in visiting regardless, bear in mind that the weather can be hazardous. You may succumb to seasickness before even reaching the island, and the tour is merely an hour. Chernobyl, Ukraine. It's hard to believe that the worst nuclear disaster of all time took place less than 40 years ago. What's even more shocking is that you can not only visit the general area today, but it's actually become a trendy tourist destination, largely thanks to HBO's Emmy-winning miniseries. While its pop culture status has given Chernobyl a certain dark allure, we'd steer clear nonetheless. Tours generally employ safety measures to make sure that guests aren't exposed to radiation for long periods, and that they don't enter restricted areas. Still, anywhere with high radiation levels involves some health risk, and the deteriorating buildings only add to the danger. If the radiation doesn't turn you off, the broken glass, unstable structures, and the disturbing history definitely will. The wreck of the Titanic, North Atlantic Ocean. More than 100 years after its first and final voyage, the Titanic remains almost 12,500 feet beneath the sea. Until James Cameron's 1997 blockbuster hit the scene, a lot of people likely didn't know that you can visit the Titanic wreck. What the film doesn't tell you is how much the journey will cost. OceanGate currently offers Titanic expeditions, but you need to apply as a mission specialist first. Once you've proven your qualifications and sign up for training, you'll need to cough up a whopping $125,000. Clearly, this attraction is only for people with insane amounts of cash to burn. Even if you won that much money in a poker game, we say just rewatch the movie instead. The Island of the Dolls, Mexico. Not far away from the Estadio Azteca football stadium, you'll find La Isla de las Muñecas. Julian Santana Barrera, the island's former owner, fished dolls out of the channels and trash, proceeding to hang them from buildings and trees. Why? Because as the legend goes, a girl drowned in the lake and Barrera sought to appease her spirit. While this sounds like an interesting horror movie, it amounts to an underwhelming and depressing trip. It takes about 90 minutes aboard a Trajinera to reach the island, assuming you can find anyone to take you there. Once you finally arrive, there isn't really much to do. Aside from a little museum, it's just a few hundred creepy dolls that you could just as easily unearth from a dumpster. Ijen, Indonesia. Bordering the Banyuwangi Regency and Bondowoso Regency, Ijen stands out from other active volcanoes. Instead of red lava, this volcano complex is distinguished by its blue fire. Its acidic crater lake also possesses a vibrant turquoise colour, making the area look more like a soothing hot spring. Of course, you definitely wouldn't want to take a dip in this 90-degree pool, or you'd surely die. It's even been said that the lake's fumes can cause birds to fall to their deaths. Regardless, we can see why Ijen's majestic views attract hikers. Aside from the toxic gases though, the steep rim only intensifies the danger. It's not worth the risk or the 2-hour drive you'll have to take from the nearest airport. The Aral Sea, Central Asia. Located in Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan, the Aral Sea was once Earth's 4th largest lake with a surface area of 26,300 square miles. By 2005, it dwindled to 1,350 square miles. By 2014, a large portion of the Aral Sea had grown so dry that it was declared the Aralkum Desert. What was once a fishing port is now a ghost town populated with sunken ships returned to the surface. Now only about 10% of its former self, the Aral Sea's shrinking shores serve as a constant reminder of global warming. In addition to being a depressing vacation spot, the area is swarming with toxic dust that's been potentially linked to health risks. We should learn from this environmental disaster, but that doesn't mean we should visit. Darvaza Gas Crater, Turkmenistan. This natural gas field goes by a few other names, including the Door to Hell and Gates of Hell. With a title like that, tourists should know to stay away. Then again, the name is also bound to arouse curiosity. The crater lives up to its reputation, blazing all around with demonic-looking fires. Getting to the crater is an even more hellish experience, however. Being located in the center of the Karakum Desert, you'll have to drive through unpaved areas with extreme caution. The crater isn't even worth checking out during the day, as the fires don't roar to life until nightfall. Then there's the fact that you'll need to travel to Turkmenistan, a country that is known for its lack of human rights. Bran Castle, Romania. If you visit Transylvania expecting a gothic horror story brought to life, you might be in store for disappointment. You won't find any vampires, although you can visit Dracula's castle. No, we're not saying that Count Dracula was real, but Vlad the Impaler inspired Bram Stoker's definitive vampire novel. Although some have connected the admittedly cool-looking Castle Bran to Vlad, there's no concrete evidence that he even stepped inside the residence. What's more, Castle Bran looks nothing like the creepy, deteriorating fortress that Stoker described in his novel, so why has it been nicknamed Dracula's Castle? Hey, it attracts tourists in Romania like vampires to blood. It's ultimately a misleading tourist trap for those interested in learning more about Vlad, Stoker, or Dracula. Paris Catacombs, Paris. The Eiffel Tower, the Louvre, Notre Dame. These are just some of the landmarks where you can make the most of your Paris adventure. We can't imagine why anyone would want to spend their visit underground when they could ride a bike through the streets. Granted, the catacombs of Paris undoubtedly fit the definition of dark tourism. Even if that's what you're looking for though, it's possible to be too macabre. The catacombs are overkill with millions and millions of skeletons. Even if the walls weren't lined with human bones, the space is beyond claustrophobic, especially for those who are sensitive to tight spaces. Worst of all, only a certain number of people can enter at a time, meaning you may be waiting in line for a while.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from Mojo Travels, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.